These are our 10 favourite ponds chosen from the many that we toured during the last 2 weeks in July. Let us know in the comments which is your favourite. And this pond is in Chicago. The owner has actually used 2 lots, so he has a fairly large house compared to his neighbours. His neighbours are typical Chicago bungalows. As you walk in, this is not what you expect. You're on a regular Chicago street with lots of small bungalows, and you enter through the back way, and what you see is really quite breathtaking. This pond takes up almost his entire back lot, and he's got some quite spectacular fish.
And he has some quite spectacular plantings as well around the pond.
Wow,
and here comes his dog, which is a very sweet dog. We visited this pond several years ago, and I'll never forget the first time we walked into the backyard, because you don't expect, when you see the front of a home, you never expect to see the entire backyard filled with plantings and water. And he has a little house that he has all of his filtration in. And look, he's got a covered patio. It's really amazing. He's got the most beautiful fish. I don't know what this plant is. I was going to ask him. It's a native, but the leaves are incredible.
Some really lovely plantings. Like most ponds, that's what really makes the pond is the landscape around it. It's really beautiful.
It's really pretty.
And some beautiful fish.
Really beautiful fish. I spent a lot of time admiring them while we were there. And as you can see, it was raining. Yeah.
But look how natural that waterfall looks. While the pond doesn't look particularly natural, it's quite square. The landscaping around it softens it. But for me, probably the most spectacular part is the waterfall. It's just so well done with the rock formations. I mean, you wouldn't know that was in the backyard.
No.
Really, really well done.
And he has some incredible filtration. That's why the water is so clear. And that's why he has an entire shed filled with filtration equipment. Many of the pond owners do that. We don't, but many do.
So this is another pond that we'd never visited before, so did not know what to expect. Although it came with a reputation, because the owner of the previous pond told us that it was really something quite special. So we were quite excited to pass through the owner's garage into his backyard. And we were not disappointed. It's another pond that has been really, really well done, really well integrated with some wonderful plantings. So it has a stream that runs down to the major pond. It was built by Aquascape, right?
That's right. They do some beautiful ponds. Aquascape is their main headquarters is in St. Charles, Illinois. Started by a fellow when he was a youngster when he started building ponds. He was about 15. And he has hired some amazing pond designers. I have to say, this is probably one of the most spectacular designs I've ever seen. That stream with the waterfalls, as you'll see, runs down to the main pond. which is 6 feet deep. But all of these streams are so well integrated. All the furnishings, all the annuals they planted, all of the perennials, just make these incredibly huge rocks that would look like nothing if it hadn't been landscaped like this. And look at that waterfall. Wow. It is truly, it's one of the best ponds I've ever seen. We've been on so many of these tours. It was very impressive. And the owner is a builder, so he had to work with their village to get the permits. And he managed to do that because he's a builder in the town. He managed to do that within 2 days, which is almost unheard of. We were really, really impressed.
Just the work of bringing in these rocks.
I mean, look at the size of these boulders. And he said at the time, the people behind him, I think, were, I don't know if they were building their house, I'm not sure.
The house was being built.
So he could have the cranes come in through the back to put these rocks in. How many tons of boulders did he say?
I don't remember.
They started with a 25 tons, and then they said, we're going to need more boulders. so they had to bring more in.
And the water's so clear.
It's so clear.
Some of the clearest water that we've
But again,
seen.
he has serious filtration.
Mm-hmm.
He did tell me that in the spring, when he cleans out the algae, he spends about 2 days getting into the pond, into the streams, pulling all the leaves out from the fall that he didn't get earlier. And, you know, 2 days worth of work isn't that much when you have this incredible beauty.
Yeah, the word is natural. It looks natural.
It looks natural.
It doesn't look man-made. It's very impressive.
Yeah, all the plantings are amazing. And one of the things that pond owners know who have taken the time to landscape is that the work that you put in is not in the pond, it's in the landscaping. It's in keeping everything looking good, weeding especially, planting annuals. That's what takes the time. The pond itself doesn't take a lot of work for the most part. And then here's the section with this section of the pond that accommodates the fish is 6 feet deep.
And then while we were here, we were lucky enough that a family of ducklings came visiting and just see them there. Here they are. He was telling us that these ducks come back every year around March and bring their ducklings. And again, that gives you an idea of how clear the water is.
Mm-hmm. I think he said originally there were 7 ducklings, but something happened to 3 of them and he's not sure what happened, but probably predators. they're not small anymore. They're quite large. And of course, just the mom is there because once the ducklings are born, the males usually leave.
Our first visit today was really something quite special. I'm going to let Connie read the owner's description.
So the pond owner said he describes his pond and how he constructed it 15 years ago by himself with some friends. It's about 30 feet long. It's 10,000 gallons, surrounded by large boulders and stones with a variety of weeping evergreens. And basically he's very humble, because if you're walking around this garden, it doesn't just contain a mini arboretum with a variety of specimen trees. It contains so many statues, and it's just filled with formal and informal garden rooms. It's a pretty incredible garden. He said that it's a place that's hidden and secretly tucked away from the rest of the world, and that is certainly true. Because when you enter from the front, although he has some beautiful plantings in the front, you do not expect his backyard to look like this. It's 3/4 of an acre, and he says it's filled with weeping trees, hedges, niches, borders, and one-of-a-kind statuary, which is very true. This man has been a collector for years. This year he is going to be 80 years old. And as people were coming through, we were noticing that he was giving them tours of the inside of his home. And so after we finished in the backyard, we encountered him, and he asked us if we would like to come in. And every single room is filled with statues, yadro, artwork, every room. I asked him how he manages to do all the dusting, and he does it himself, because he said his wife did it and she broke a few pieces, and he thinks that might have been on purpose. But every single room except the kitchen was filled with collectibles that he's been collecting for his whole lifetime. He has been in the house since 1979. It is an absolutely amazing, amazing garden.
So like a lot of these pond and gardens, it's amazing that you really don't expect what you get when you walk in, because it's just an ordinary street and an ordinary house on an ordinary street. And this is quite extraordinary. I mean, we haven't quite made it to the back yet, but just wait until we pass through here and you see just the amount of statuary that he has. Some of it quite whimsical, and lots of others also quite classical. It's quite an odd mixture, fairly eccentric to be honest, but just so wonderful, and such a wonderful surprise as you walk through.
And as you may have noticed, again, on this particular day, we started out with rain. I had my umbrella up, I was walking behind Mark, but it wasn't really pouring like the day before at times. It was just a nice rain, and as we progressed on the tour, the rain stopped, which we could tell by looking at the weather that it was going to, so that was great.
And with all the whimsical statues, it's quite easy to overlook the actual landscaping, because he's done a beautiful job of some of these borders. He mentioned his trees, and it does have some really wonderful evergreens. You can see some here, and it works really well with the way that he's planned it out. It's quite formal the way it's planned. What statues do is they draw the eye, and it makes the garden seem much, much larger than it is. It is fairly large. Seeing statues in the distance draws your eye and kind of elongates the garden.
It is, we admit, kind of quirky, because you'll see suddenly something just sitting like that bird in the middle of the yard. And it's not to everyone's taste, we absolutely acknowledge. But this guy loves everything. You can tell everything he puts in his garden. He has so many places to sit. I hope he has a lot of parties, because that impressed me. And I know if it was us, we'd probably spend time sitting in every little section just enjoying it.
And for those of you that have a garden, you can see how well tended this is. It has good edges, the borders have been mulched, the bushes have been trimmed. It's very well cared for, and obviously would be a lot of work. I would guess that as an 80-year-old, he's not doing this himself anymore, but still, it's still very, very well maintained, quite beautiful.
I think he may be doing a lot of it himself still. He had someone, because he expected so many visitors, he had someone he called himself a greeter. And he was a lovely gentleman who explained to us just how wonderful this man is and what an incredible designer he is. And so after he did that, he said, you can look for him. In the back, he'll have a red t-shirt on. And so I was looking for him. I really wanted to meet this man because when we had visited maybe 5 years ago, might be longer than that, we didn't get to meet the owner. But we were very happy to have met him this time. We spent a lot of time with him.
And we haven't even reached the pond yet.
No, I know.
That was the only little bit of mess I saw, the bag of mulch there.
Right, right.
It's the only thing out of place that I saw the whole time we were there.
But look at some of the beautiful weeping evergreens. The only criticism I had when I was in the garden is that the red area going over there. I thought the red was a bit too bright for the rest of the garden, but that was about it. And here's the pond. What a stunning waterfall. See, if he collects something, he's going to put it out there. If he sees something he thinks will work in his garden, you can just see that everything is going to be in this garden.
And there's so much to see. Everywhere you look, there's something that catches your eye. Like I hadn't noticed those Easter Island statues when we were there.
I like the turtle. So many places to sit.
And because the trees are so large, particularly at the back where we just were, it really makes the whole garden feel very secluded, even though you can see his neighbour is actually quite close. But yeah, despite the rain, that was quite a wonderful start to our tour. So as we approach this next pond, we should probably explain what these fish that you've been seeing in other videos are. They're provided by the pond club that we belong to, and it's a useful indicator of where the pond is as you drive up to it.
Oh, and this house.
Beautiful landscaping, which kind of promises what's to come in the backyard, which is really quite spectacular.
They do a beautiful job with their annuals. And then as you approach it, so many perennials here. This must be completely shade because they have the hydrangeas, they've got the heucheras. It's very pretty.
There's some nice ferns back there too.
Nice ferns.
That looks like an endless summer hydrangea.
Right. It's quite a sloping backyard, as you can see, because we have to go down a few steps to get to the pond.
And that's not bad camera work on my part because I was going down steps.
True.
It wasn't too shaky.
So as we approached this house when we were parking, there were more cars on the street than any house we visited on this particular day. And I think that's because it is a spectacular pond. This is his fourth pond. He's had 4 homes, 4 ponds, and he said this is the last one because he's got everything he wants now. And you can see how beautiful this is. It's right up next to the patio. Has some of the most impressive water lilies I've ever seen. And he has a lot of them too, but it's a large pond. Let me just check and see how big it is.
8,000, was it?
6,000 gallons, 30 by 20 by 4 feet deep. He has 3 dozen kois, obviously lots of lilies. Some are tropical and hardy, some even bloom at night. We've never seen that, but we have such a small pond, relatively speaking, that we can't have that many, or we'd have to divide them a lot. But he did say, I don't know if you remember him saying this, Mark, but he takes them all out in the spring, divides them by 3. He keeps 2/3 and he gives away another 1/3. So if he does that next spring, we're going to have to watch for his notification. We have so many yellow blooming ones, and they're beautiful, they really are, but it helps to have a little bit of diversity, I think, in the color in your pond. I don't know how he did that smoke feature. I'm not sure how he does that.
It's quite dramatic though.
It is very dramatic. And some of the plants in there too. I don't know what that is. This looks like a reed. He probably has to keep them in pots because frequently, we learned this with the first time we built a pond, we had some flag iris and they just took over the entire pond. Mark had to get in the fall with a machete and chop them down. They were beautiful, but they were taking over. And so if you keep something in a pot, it's a little bit easier to maintain it in your pond. That is obviously where they sit. And look at how beautiful it is.
Yeah, because this is the best view of the pond, which is why they put the seating area right here.
And look at the different colors of the evergreens that hang over too. That takes some creativity, and they did a beautiful job with that.
And some really nice plantings. Those cone flowers look especially good next to the pond like that.
They do.
Look how picturesque that is. That's beautiful. You wouldn't believe that that was in somebody's back garden.
True. It's absolutely stunning. They spend a lot of time working on it.
So over this weekend, we visited, I think it was 10 ponds?
I think it was 10, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this one was the first. And this was a really good start to this weekend's tour. It's a large pond, set in quite a large lot. And this first pond, I think that ring is for feeding the fish. I think it holds the food so it doesn't go into the skimmer. We used to have something like that.
Right. The fish look beautiful too.
Some nice rock work in this pond. That was a nice stone bridge.
Beautiful waterfalls and streams. And the homeowner said that they had just recently purchased the house and the pond came with it, but what they did is to take much of the landscaping out and do their own landscaping, and they've done a beautiful job. Look at all the moss on the rocks, isn't that wonderful?
What I like about it is the way it's tiered and that it's not straight, it's winding and tiered. It really gives it a lot of interest into a fairly small space, because the actual stream isn't that long, but because it's tiered and windy, it seems longer.
It's right off their patio. And they said they have a lot of wonderful lighting too. I bet it's beautiful at night.
And you can see it's well integrated into the landscape. It's not all pond, they still have significant lawn.
Right.
Some nice plantings around it. Has a very, very secluded feel to it. Really nice. And there's the stone bridge. And they have a dog. All gardens should have a dog.
I think so too.
And she's walking up to the back of the pond, so you can get a view looking down the waterfall. And again, some really nice plantings, which you can see they're all fairly new because they've just re-landscaped it. That's Connie was saying.
And there's another nice place to sit.
Yeah, quite beautiful. The first thing that struck me with this pond was their obviously excellent landscaping. This path really draws your eye. However, my immediate thought when we got to this point and saw a small water feature, I thought, oh, is that it? But I was so wrong. Following this path around, you can see when I saw this, I thought, well, that's very pretty, but
Right.
isn't there more?
A little pondless waterfall. And it's nice because if you're sitting outside and that's what you want is just hear the sound of water, those are very pretty. You can't put fish in them, but you can see how pretty it is though.
And this is at the front of the house. Some people do that at the front of the house. So I was expecting the main pond perhaps to be at the back of the house, but it's actually at the front and it's quite impressive. And all this is part of one system, I think. That little initial pondless, I think it's part of this, but couldn't really tell because it's so well done.
Right. They have some beautiful landscaping.
And I love the way it opens up for you as you walk, because as you came up the path, you did not expect to see this. And as you keep going, you don't expect to see it be as big as it is. And this is kind of the finish. That's the wow. That's beautifully done, those multiple waterfalls.
That is. And look at all those wonderful hostas. We have mostly sun in our garden, so we don't have any hostas, but I really wish we did because the variety is incredible. They have mostly shade. And look at those fish.
Nice water quality too.
Nice, yes.
Remember, all this is at the front of their property. So went to the back of the property because it says more water features this way. And while it is a water feature, it's not a pond, it's a swimming pool. Which would have been really nice to have jumped into on this day because it was very, very hot. But back to the front and another shot of their multiple waterfalls. Really, really well executed. Some great rock work.
They've left a little bit of space so you can walk around though. Really nice.
Never seen anything like that at the front of somebody's property before.
No. That's an interesting sculpture. What a lovely place to sit. This homeowner has a deceptively small back garden, and he has filled the entire thing with beautiful shade landscaping and a pond. You don't even notice from the front of the house, you don't expect this at all. But look at this, look at the ferns and the hostas. And they have filled every inch of this very small backyard with wonderful features, sitting area. I think that's a fire pit under the table. Look at that.
Yeah, and what I liked about it is the way it opens up to you. You don't even know that they have a pond. You have to go fairly deep into the garden before you realise that they have a pond. I mean, it's quite beautiful without a pond. Landscaping is wonderful, right off the deck there. And it kind of invites you to explore, to follow these winding paths and see what is around the next corner.
And if you notice, he mentioned he has a number of evergreens that he didn't expect to live, but they're looking beautiful. The entire backyard is shaded, and his evergreens all look wonderful.
And then we have a small stream leading into a fairly large pond.
He's done a nice job with little pops of color with the impatiens in pots, and they do wonderful in shade. He's done a lovely job with that too.
And because it's surrounded by woodland, it integrates really well and looks quite natural in its setting. So with this next pond, you can tell that these guys were keen gardeners because of all the work that they've done on the front of their property. But when we get to the pond, it was probably the most fun pond on the tour today. Lots of really unique sculptures. You can see some of them already. But the thing that made it unique is the way that they've made this stream wind all the way down their property. They've got a sloped property and they've really made the most of that slope with tiered streams going down into a larger pond, and it just seems to keep going.
And if you noticed on the left, they have quite a collection of metal frogs. They're so amazing.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it.
That's quite a piece of driftwood there too. But they're clearly frog collectors.
Yes. So we've already passed 2 streams that come into one. Right there, over a small stone bridge. Flowing down into that larger pond, and it appears they have heron problems too, because that's what those strings across the pond are meant to deter. Have some large fish, more frog sculptures. We thought we had a lot of frog sculptures.
Not compared to these people. I wish someone had been out there. I would have asked him where he got the very large frogs.
Isn't it a company that's gone out of business now, were you saying?
No, I don't think so.
And then another stream that leads from the pond, because when you see that large pond, you think that you've reached the end. But I followed it down, so where's this stream going now? And I realised that it actually drains into a natural creek that they have at the back of their property.
It looks like it's quite dry. I think we'd have enough rain this year, but it doesn't look like it. There's a lot of capacity for water to come through that little viaduct.
Yes. Does make you wonder if their property floods.
It did. It made me wonder that.
Although because it's on a slope, probably not a problem.
They've done a lovely job with landscaping. I always think that kind of a sloped property would be incredibly different or difficult to landscape. It's not something that we're used to. Ours is we have a little bit of a hill, but mostly flat. Their pond is just off their patio as well, and have a covered patio with a wonderful place to eat. They've got a grill. Here's another frog. See, I want that frog.
And then although I couldn't tell, I don't think this pond was connected to that main system of ponds that they have, but still more.
They have so much water, so many waterfalls, so many streams.
And so many frogs.
And so many frogs.
And they have fish in this one too. You can see the fish there, and again, you can see the string to deter the heron. They have some beautiful fish, quite large.
They're really large. With the way that they're so isolated and they have so many trees, it's hard to believe that the herons could get in there. They must have had trouble, or they wouldn't have put the fish wire up there. More frogs?
And more frogs. So this last property was very different from some of the other properties that we visited during this pond tour. It was much less urban, and as you can see, setting quite a large property on what was probably a farm at one point, because you saw that barn building back there. So as we walked down this path, we didn't quite know what to expect, and there were a couple of surprises. So the first thing that struck me was this wooden walkway, which is quite unique, and it goes quite far back, as you can see, as you'll see further on.
I thought that was a nice touch. Rather than using flagstone or rock, a nice wooden path leading to the back.
So it has quite a large property. As you can see, that wooden walkway goes way off back there. And the pond is right off their patio, next to their house. Quite a large pond.
Quite good looking fish.
And you have excellent water quality again. And some good rock work. Yeah, some beautiful fish. But the real surprise came by following that wooden walkway, because at the back of the property they have a walk-through flower garden. They also have some tomatoes and other herbs in here, but it's mostly flowers. And it's quite delightful to walk through, even on a scorchingly hot day.
Wow, they have a lot of tomatoes.
Because this was just so unexpected. It's not something you expect to see laid out like this. But why not? It's a great use of their property, and it's quite beautiful.
I'm sure that they have a lot of vases filled with flowers.
And that's a lot of blooms for the middle of August.
Coneflowers are wonderful. Different colors, different types.
And then the real surprise was that they had goats. Although, because it was such a hot day,
Oh, you did
I
see
only
a
got
goat.
to see one goat, and I could not get him to say hello to me. I tried, I called him. He did not want to turn around. So this was the last pond on the tour. Actually took us 45 minutes to get to it, but it was well worth it. It's set in several acres of wooded area and is quite dramatic.
I would say it's quite dramatic. It's one of the most dramatic ponds we've ever seen, and we had been here previously. We always want to see if the homeowner has made any changes to their pond, and he had not really made any changes, but still just as stunning as ever. And he did mention to us he never has to see any neighbors because of the wooded lot. You walk into this lot and you do not expect what you see. I think he needs that piece of equipment to cut his grass.
Yeah, because he cares for the trees in this area too, so he's quite busy. And again, it's not what you would expect. So this stream runs next to his patio and then into a pond, and then there's another stream with another waterfall that runs into the main pond.
A lot of places to sit and enjoy it. That must be nice, a little fire pit in the fall. Look at the trees, just what a beautiful wooded lot.
You know, no neighbors in sight.
The whole thing is really steps down. You walk down a number of steps to get to the lower patio where the fish actually are in the pond. And I think he does call it a swim pond. He does swim in it. Lovely gazebo to spend time in. If he has any mosquitoes, we didn't notice any.
And that's the main pond that the waterfalls and the streams flow into. And there's quite a lot of fish. See, up there was the waterfall that we crossed, the stream that we crossed, coming in. So it's made really effective use of the landscape there, because obviously that hill that was already there, and the way he's built his ponds and waterfalls into that landscape works really well.
So, which one of these ponds is your favourite? Was it the garden with all the statuary? Perhaps it was the pond with the ducklings. Or maybe the pond with the long winding stream and multiple whimsical frog collection. Let us know in the comments which one was your favourite.
If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more content just like it. Thanks for watching. Bye.